How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the San Jose Sharks franchise mode, episode number 15, headed into the 2026 draft and off season. Hold on to your hats, because it's going to be a huge off season, as in the postseason, year number 4, we fell in 6 games in round number 1 to the Edmonton Oilers. We had won game number 1, we went down 3 games to 1, brought it back 3-2, but then the Oilers won it in game 6. They went on to lose in 7 to the Canucks, who went on to win the Stanley Cup. So although it's not like the playoffs were a big surprise, like we knew we were trending downwards, we were struggling a lot. I wouldn't say like it was one of those years where we were doing well and got a lot of surprises. We were who we were. We were who we thought we were, right? Thomas Hertl and Jonathan Drouin both went point per game. That was great. Chaz Lucius had 4 goals. That was great. But Connor Bedard, who scored 44 goals 2 years ago, was coming off of a 37-goal season. Good, but not great. And only put up 1 goal in 6 games. Cole Lind, who we picked up the deadline, was great. We had other various performances. William Eklund was a huge disappointment. 2 assists in 6 games from him. Goaltending-wise, Lucas Dostal did okay, but I don't know. It's like he had a couple good performances, a couple tough overtime losses, but a couple of bad performances that really hurt his overall numbers. Linus Ullmark wasn't anything crazy either. Our goaltending could have been better, but it wasn't the goaltending, it was the scoring. So headed into the postseason, we had a big surprise at the end of last episode, as we totally forgot that we had Florida's first-round picks. This makes me think of the Canadians in the real world. The Panthers were the 3rd worst team in the league, and they lost the draft lottery, unfortunately, dropping down to 4th. So we have the 4th overall pick in this draft, and we could either pick between a couple of defensemen, Lincoln McIntyre, who could be an offensive defenseman, Boris Kalinin, who's a 2-way D, or we go forward and take Gavin McKenna, who's a medium elite, probably 2-way forward winger. So we have a few options there, as well as what are we going to do with the team we already have, because on paper it's a strong team. Bedard didn't come through, Eklund didn't come through, but overall it's a strong team. Aging in some parts and expensive in others. Many people suggesting possibly moving on from Erik Karlsson this offseason, but he does have a full no movement clause headed into the final year of his big deal, paying him $11.5 million. So we will not be moving on from Erik Karlsson, I'll tell you that right away. Full no movement clause, I'm not even going to try it. However, we could consider moving on from Logan Couture, who does have a modified no trade clause, where we could trade him to any 3 teams of his choosing. Now, part of me wants to keep Logan Couture, and we'll get into it in the comments. Part of me really wants to keep him. Leader, lifetime Shark, captain. He's actually performed very well. Even with third-line minutes this past year, scored the same amount of goals as the year before, playing top 6, 24. Playing 4 less minutes per night, still put up the same amount of goals. But the problem is he has bottom 6 potential, and he's costing $8 million. So if you want a bit of a revamp in the bottom 6, which had horrible plus-minus, he did well, plus 14. I'm leaning we likely move Logan Couture. I haven't decided on it yet, but I'm leaning we probably move him because of that bottom 6 potential. He may very well be like a 79 or an 80 by the time the regular season rolls around. But hey, maybe that means he's 4th-line center. We really do need a 4th-line centerman. So I haven't decided on that yet, but I'm kind of leaning that way. We'll find out what happens. Cunnin looks great. Reedy, probably going to move on from him. Negative 19 on the year. So it's more of a revamp in the bottom 6. Trying to figure out what's going on in the goaltending. It's been a really, there's a lot of fires to put out last season, and ultimately the house burned down. Now, headed into the offseason, we need to consider which players are also on expiring deals. Now, of course, we're going to be looking to re-sign Chaz Lucius, a big piece of our future top 6. Cole Lind was a great deadline acquisition. I'd like to bring him back. Mario Ferraro, though, a very consistent and reliable defenseman. 20 points last season, a +9, 110 points through almost 500 games in his career, all with the San Jose Sharks. Very consistently in that 15 to 20 point range with positive plus-minuses. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of room for him. He would be our 6/7 man, and he'd be wanting $3 million. So yeah, you know what? 85% him, bring it down to 2 point whatever. It's still money that we don't really have. We have 9.7 in extension dollars, and we really want to bring Lucius and Lynn back. So Mario Ferraro, it's more of, maybe we can make it work, but it's more the logjam at defense that is probably going to keep him from getting re-signed, because if Lindell, Bouchard, Rodin, Carlson, Kniazev, Pickering, those 6 guys are our top 6, that leaves whatever, the 7th can be a Bjorn Fott or maybe someone that we draft, I don't know what. I would have a hard time trying to excuse a 3 million or a 2.6 million guy being our healthy scratch defenseman when we could get a guy like Bjorn Fott, who's a couple overall less, but he's on league minimum. Again, in a perfect world, Couture stays, Ferraro stays, but we just don't have the money to make that all work. So having said all that, I'm going to jump into Pat's comment to start off, who says exactly that, the hard truth. Very tough way to go out, and I would 100% not bring Ferraro back. He's been fine, but you already have 681 plus overall D-men without him, with prospects banging on the door. Think about Kiviharju, who's already, what, like a 75? Ferraro's 27, so we know what he is, and $3 million a season is money you can better spend elsewhere. Looking forward to the next one. Thank you for that, Pat. Sometimes it's not what you want to hear, but it's a hard dose of reality. Speaking of our veterans and wanting to do right by them, Ferraro, Couture, Cheating Heel leaves in his comment, which is very rich in content as always. At the end of it, it's been a terrible roller coaster this season, but we still have some very good pieces. Let's get rid of the old guard and shake up the leadership core that wasn't able to bring us to the promised land. So you know what? We keep Hurdle, we keep Carlson. We still have a lot of original Sharks on this team, but it may be time to move on from the other pieces. Getting to the rest of Cheating Heel's comments, skimming through it here. First off, the draft, Cheating Heel says we have a lot of prospects at left D, so with the fourth pick, I'd look at the right D or the left wing. That Habsheed guy, a good goalie prospect, is also interesting as late first/early second. For the trade, some of our players are taking up too much cap versus what they're actually bringing, and they are regressing as well. We finally have Mark-Edward Vlasic off the cap. I think now is the time to also move on from Couture and Carlson. Can't do Carlson though, and send them to a cup contender for picks. Hurdle and Bushnevich are also not producing up to what they are being paid, but we most likely can still keep them for a season or two before we have to make a decision on them. Linus Ullmark hasn't pulled his weight, so we can also go for a pick. There are no real affordable options in free agency, so let's look at the trading block to find an upgrade. For Ullmark in the goaltending, he is still an 85 overall and a $2 million deal, so I'd like to at least give him the opportunity unless we're really needing every cent. I'd like to try and give him that opportunity to bounce back. Worst case, we move on and we find somebody else. But for $2 million for an 85, I'd like to at least try it again. Free agency, some good options here like Chychrun, Rasmus Andersson maybe, Eli Tolvanen, Artemi Panarin perhaps. But the biggest thing is we just won't have the money if we're still hanging on to Erik Karlsson. A big fish type of splash may not be anything that we can consider until next offseason. Prospect-wise, we have some guys in the AHL who are kind of stagnating, so we'll try to get them onto the fourth line this year. Lineup is Eklund, the new Lindblom, high overall, mid-production. We'll see what happens, hopefully putting him with better players or just better players, kind of mixing it up and trying to do what we can. We'll get him jump-started, especially with the new head coach. And the most important thing we need to do is looking at getting better production value with the $19.5 million we currently have invested in Couture and Carlson. Not sure if free agency or trade block is the better way to go, but that mostly is where we need to put our focus, in my opinion. No rest for GM data this offseason. Let's work the phones and make some deals. Go Sharks, go. Thank you very much, Cheating Heel. Moving on to Super Loser's comment. Super Loser says, great video as always. Thank you very much. Disappointing run for sure. The 4th overall pick at the end was a pleasant surprise though. I also completely forgot about that. I would take Kalin with the 4th overall pick. With Carlson declining, we're going to need a replacement for the right side on the top pair. Plus, we already have an elite offensive, actually I think he's a two-way D, defenseman prospect in Kiviharju, so I think it's better to go for Kalinin because he's a two-way guy. Kiviharju is two-way, but he's on the left side, so Kalinin would be on the right side. Also, for free agency, one guy I like is Tyler Toffoli, a solid top 6 sniper that won't be as pricey as Panarin or Tolvanen. Put him on a line with Eklund and see if that can finally get him going. That's all I have to say. Good luck and go Sharks. Thank you, Super Loser. A guy like Toffoli would be very interesting. It would come down to whether or not we're going to be keeping Logan Couture, because that third line does need a jump. If Couture regresses some more and he becomes our 4th line center, that's fine. But then who's on the third line? If Cody Glass is centering the third line and we get Cole Lind back and he's on the right wing, who's on that left wing? Can we get Toffoli, a guy who can slot into the top 6 for injuries? Does it become Luke Cunnin perhaps? If we have the money in a perfect world, I would say sure, a guy like Toffoli. But then if we trade Couture, who's on the 4th line, we could probably find some fillers, but it's a lot of moving pieces, if you see what I'm saying. Now, moving over to the Discord server, and I thank you for the rest of the YouTube comments. It's all behind the scenes, but I spend a good, hour, 2 hours, a whole evening sometimes, going through the comments, replying paragraphs. It's not just making YouTube videos, it's the involvement that we all have in this series, myself included, but for all of you assistant general managers as well. So I thank each and every one of you who watches, who likes, who takes the time to comment and immerse yourself in this series. It really is appreciated, and it adds to everyone's collective ambiance, I guess you could call it. So thank you for that. And all that being said, in the Discord server, Doogie Live left a comment saying, "It seems as though the defense has dropped off tremendously. Even if the scoring picked up some slack, that PK has consistently been pretty bad the last few seasons, but even worse this time around. I think it would be worth overhauling the D as much as possible. Although the goaltending could be better, the second half of the season was pretty much like the first, except I think we squeaked into the playoffs thanks to some stronger offensive first half performances that saved us. That just further drives my belief that if the D was just a little better, we would have a few more wins in the first half and not done as poorly in the second half. The offense bailed us out through the first 41. Outside of that, I think we have quite a bit of draft capital to play with to make some trades in the draft. Also, I'm not worried about Rodin. I think he just has a bad situation around him, and that's what drove his plus-minus down. I presume at the end of the season, his progression will have increased a bit, so his overall should be higher by the start of next season. Maybe with more consistency around him, he can take the reins from Carlson and lead the D-core. If you're looking for a solid goalie, I hear there's a former Stanley Cup champion in the crease playing for Colorado, LOL, aka Capo Kakinen. Thank you very much, Doogie. Moving on in the comments, EJB Elite says, with our draft pick, I think Kalinin is the obvious choice. With Carlson regressing, I say we move Bouchard up to the first pair and play Rodin and Kalinin together. Rodin's an offensive defenseman, so it's necessary to have a two-way or a defensive defenseman with him. HockeyCam also agrees and also thinks that the goalie is a must, the hab sheet at the end of the first round. And Eugene Riley, another forward who's NHL ready, should be targeted if there's an opportunity to get another first. As always, some further thoughts on the draft. Some saying that it would be good to go after McIntyre because of how strong of a prospect he is. And I totally agree. Very strong prospect. But he, unfortunately, is what we already have a lot of. Left side D, left hand D, as well as offensive D. All things that we already kind of have an abundance of. So I'll end it off before I get into my poll that I gave to the assistant general managers with Mr. Brian Michalak, who says, I know you mentioned getting a new coach that's an A+ and demoting our current newbie, which is what we did, but why not keep the coach from last year, Avery, assigned as the head coach? The team responded very well to his coaching. Our power play did fantastic with him too. After a season, he will likely be an A+ rated coach, and we don't have to hope a new guy would help the team because we know the success that Coach Avery has gotten. I may be in the minority on this one, but I really think we should pause and give him a true second season with the reins. You know what? I tend to agree on that. Also, with the logjam we'll run into on defense, why not just go for McKenna? It gives us another option at wing to build the eventual top six of the future around with Bedard, Eklund, and Lucius. Bushnevich, Drouin are both 31, Hurdle's 32, so we could see a decline in the next few seasons, which opens the spot up for developing McKenna, maybe even Tanguay if he improves. This is just my quick assessment. Hate to see a first round bounce, but it brings us down to earth after our second improbable playoff run. We went to the Cup final the year before. Keep it going, GM Data. We still have work to do, and the future is looking brighter by the day. So those thoughts on drafting a forward, I'm not opposed to them, but I do see the need for a future right-handed D or right-sided D because we have Evan Bouchard right now. But aside from that, Erik Karlsson's going to be gone soon. Kivi Haryu's in the pipeline. He's a left-sided D. So the future top four, I see it being Rodin, Kivi Haryu, maybe Kalinin, and maybe Evan Bouchard or whoever ends up coming in the future. I could see a right-side D in this draft being a future guy long-term in our top four, while a forward, I tend to find that there's better luck on forwards later in the draft. You could take a guy like Eugene Riley or a guy in the second, third round and have them develop into a middle six, top six guy. As opposed to defense, I find it's like a rare, low elite, sixth round pick that hits, and if not, it has to be a top guy. Those top 4D prospects you take in the second, third round, I don't always find that they pan out very well, especially in NHL franchise mode where defensemen have so much trouble developing. So I'll have to say, lots of comment reading at the start of this episode. I apologize for those who don't enjoy it as much, but for those of you who do enjoy the immersiveness, you're eating it up. My question to the on-call assistant general managers in the Discord server, that's why you definitely want to join because you'll answer live questions, was what are we doing with the 4th overall pick? The options seem to be, number 1, draft a D and move someone out of our top 6. I put the top 6 above. Number 2, draft a D and if he's 79 overall or under, play him in the AHL. 3, draft a forward, McKenna. Or 4, trade the pick, and for what? On the poll, there was 1 vote for draft a D and move one of our current guys out. 2 votes for draft a forward, and 7 votes for draft a D, and if 79 overall or under, play him in the AHL next season. That I can kind of get behind, because although we have quite a logjam at defense this season, Erik Karlsson on the last year of his deal on that right side is going to open up a spot next year. So we could easily draft someone now. They wouldn't be helping us this next season, but they would be putting us in a very good position moving forward. It kind of depends on how you see it. Do we want to draft help today, or do we want to try and get for the future? When we drafted Rodin, that was our idea with him, and he didn't come through in his rookie season. So if we did take a guy like McIntyre, who's more offensive, there's no guarantee that he would be a difference maker either. So many more messages were exchanged in the Discord. That was what the assistant general managers voted, and I think that's where we're going to be rolling with headed into this draft. Starting off the draft, I'll be curious to see if anyone wants to trade their pick as well within the top 3 here. Starts with Buffalo, Vegas, and Winnipeg. None of them want to trade their picks. So I think we'll see who's available at 4. If we're definitely not trading up, it's going to cost way too much for teams that don't want to trade their picks. First overall, it's this guy. Is it Charlie Corson? Who's, Charlie Corson, 83 overall, sniper centerman. Crazy pick for Buffalo. Vegas at number 2, select this guy Bartley, medium elite, 80 overall, playmaking winger. And 3rd overall to the Winnipeg Jets goes Persinger, the medium elite grinder, 77 overall. So here at pick number 4 with Florida's pick, thank you very much. I forgot what the trade was exactly, but coming back to really be of much benefit to us. There's Lincoln McIntyre from the USA, 18 years of age, 6-foot offensive D-man, similar to PK Subban, NHL ready. And there's Boris Kalinin, who was nicknamed in the Discord server as the Latvian Locomotive. I love that name. Similar to Victor Hedman, NHL ready at 17 years of age, right D, left-handed, very interesting. I lean this way for many reasons. I understand the logjam that's kind of there on defense, but I see the logjam as, these 81 to 83 overall guys. I'm thinking who's going to rise above that in the future. I think Kalinin and Rodin are the future top pair. I could see that. So at 17 years of age, I think he is the move, and he'll potentially spend time in the AHL depending on his overall. And without further ado, let's head up to the podium. With the 4th overall selection in the 2026 NHL entry draft, the San Jose Sharks are proud to select from Russia, Boris Kalinin. Welcome to the franchise, Bello. You are 79 overall, medium elite, 2-way D. The Latvian Locomotive, welcome to San Jose. Tape-to-tape zone ability, back at ya, thunderclap, and send it as the superstar abilities. 3-star defense, 4-star skating, 3-star everything else, actually. 2.5-star senses, 3-star everything, and then 4-star skating. Very well-rounded at 17 years of age to boot. I'm very excited for this prospect in our system. Great 2-way D, it looks like. Very excited for the Latvian Locomotive to be here in San Jose. Now, let's see Lincoln McIntyre, who was rated number 4. We reached, I guess, technically to take Kalinin at 5, although we liked him more. Does Detroit go for Lincoln McIntyre? No, they go for the forward, McKenna. Gavin McKenna, 77 overall, medium elite. He had a lot of superstar abilities to go with the tape-to-tape zone ability. Only 2.5-star shooting, interesting, but a 3.5-star puck skills with 87 deking. I don't know. This is a bit odd, actually. 90 acceleration, 90 speed, 75 balance, 91 durability, 81 strength, 72 shooting accuracies. Ooh, he's a bit wonky. Not crazy wonky, where it's 60 acceleration and 90 speed. But I don't know if I would have liked Gavin McKenna as much as any other medium elite 77 overall forward. I don't know. Playmaker as well. It wasn't a 2-way forward. Do the Islanders take McIntyre? Yes, they do. Lincoln McIntyre, 78 overall, medium elite at 18 years of age. Thunderclap, Heat Seeker, Off the Rush, and Seeing Eye. I think I prefer Kalinin seeing these stats. Now everything on the table, I think I prefer Kalinin. I'm very happy with that selection. So Boris Kalinin here in San Jose. I like that very much. Our next pick comes at pick number 18, our actual first-round pick. I don't think there's anyone else we wanted to trade up for. Only Nashville wants to trade their pick before us. I'm going to just go to 18. I don't think I'm going to trade anything because we have. I want to save my draft capital and pieces for later on. Let's see. Medium top 6, medium top 6, medium top 6, medium top 6, high top 9. Yikes. medium top 6, medium top 6, medium top 6, medium top 6, high top 9, medium top 6. Nothing too special going outside of those top like 7, 8 picks there. So now at pick number 18, we could go César Parenteau, 3-bar medium elite, but I think I'm going to trade down and go ahead and take Eugene Riley, then try and trade up with our other second-round pick to take the goaltender. So I'm going to try and trade down to around 25. Let's trade down 7 picks or so. Do they want to trade at 25? They don't. So I'll trade to 24 with Carolina. Can I get a third-round pick out of trading down 6 spots here? I think that's a pretty fair deal. Yeah, I'm happy. I probably could have gotten a bit more, but I think that's usually the price that a move up of like 6 to 8 picks usually goes in the first round. Usually like I throw in a third and that's enough to make it happen. So thank you, Carolina. With the 18th overall pick, they take medium top 6. Great. We'll go to pick number 24. Top 9s, top 6s. Yeah, Parenteau was top 6 as well, so he was not medium elite. All right, so with pick number 24 and an extra third with us now to use as more draft capital, we head up to the podium once again. With the 24th overall selection in the 2026 NHL entry draft, the San Jose Sharks are proud to select from Helsingin of Liga, Eugene Riley. Welcome to the team, Bello. You are 77 overall, medium top 6 grinder. 77, we knew he was NHL ready, so that would probably be the range of his overall. Very nice, and a grinder as well. Okay, the Norwegian grinder. 80 faceoffs, 85 defensive awareness, 3.5-star physical. Yeah, for 5'11", they don't see any grinders at 5'11", but these are some okay stats right here. I don't mind these attributes. Relentless superstar ability as well. Okay, not a bad pick at all, considering that everyone's just medium top 6 at this point. Our next pick comes at pick number 50, but we do want to select that goalie. Now, I didn't go into too much detail on the goalie in this video, but in the last one, we saw that, scrolling down to him, there are a couple goalies. There's Antoine Couture, who's rated more highly, 5 years away at the age of 18. But then there's also Don Habschied, who at the age of 17 is only 2 years away, and 17 years of age, medium elite overall? Whew! So if we could trade for maybe pick number 30, I wouldn't mind drafting him at that point. Anyone want to trade around 30? It's a bit too risky to go to 32. So I'm going to trade up to pick number 28. From 25, well, we're at 25 right now. I'm going to try and use some picks to get to 28 and draft that goalie. So maybe we could even keep pick number 50. How about I throw you pick number 61, as well as 88 that I got from the Hurricanes. 61, 88, and 146. I doubt this goes, but just to kind of see what they're thinking at this point. You aren't where you need to be, nor are we particularly interested. Let's see. We have a bunch of 7ths here as well, just a couple 7ths. I have 3 thirds next year. Let's see if I can give them a third next year and take out this 5th. A 2nd and 2 thirds. 61, 88, and a 3rd next year. Yeah, that's a fair deal. Thank you very much, Colorado, for who could be our future franchise pillar between the pipes. Yeah, I'll do that. And now they want, okay, no, that was just nothing. Top 9, top 4D, and a top 6 forward go between now and then. Our third first-round selection, I'm very happy with the position that we've put ourselves in. Let's make sure we get our guy and head up to the podium for a third time. With the 28th overall selection in the 2026 NHL entry draft, the San Jose Sharks are proud to select from the U.S. development system, Don Habschied. Welcome to the team, Bello, from USA West as well. 67 overall at the age of 17. Let's go. Medium elite, and look at that contortionist zone ability. Sponge, tip jar, dialed in, no timer, and last stand. Look at these whatever you want to call them, at the age of 17. That's honestly, no bias, one of the best prospects I've seen in NHL 23 with like zone abilities incorporated and all of that in terms of late picks. And late by like late first round, not 6th round gems. You don't see players with these many X factors go at this point. You see guys like Riley who have one superstar ability or whatever, but to see that many on one player towards the end of the first round, that high of an overall at that age, that is the perfect prospect. My goodness. Don Habschied from the USA West, maybe for a San Jose boy. Great pick. I love that first round. Kalinin, Riley, and Habschied. Who goes later on? Benino, top 6, 71 overall. Antoine Couture was 55 overall at the age of 18. No X factors. Oh my goodness, we got the guy. He's him. He is him. Sergeyev, 68 overall, offensive defenseman. Not a bad pick with medium top 4D potential. Now our next pick is at pick number 50. This is pick number 33. We pick at 50. I don't think we'll make any more trades to move up. If we did, it would be by just a little bit, I think. Some top 4Ds are around. Very interesting. Some top 6 forwards. But I don't think we have anyone pinned. This guy, Ricky Brain. Yeah, Ricky Brain, 6'4" defenseman. I want to get Ricky Brain. Let's see what's up by... Actually, I want to make sure he's not gone. I can't... This happened before where I look at a player, then I sim, and I didn't look at the exact number of where he's going, and then I get an ugly wake-up call. See, where we would have simmed to 50, he's only at 51. Who knows that ugly wake-up call that would come. So let's try and get for, whatever, pick 48 or something. Pick 50 is here at 18, so let's try and go... Let's trade with Montreal. Why not? Let's trade with the Canadiens. 50 and 2 7s? Would that be okay to just move up 4 picks? 50 and 2 7s? Trading. Not too much to deliberate. Okay. 50 and 2 7s to move up to 46. Thank you very much. So with the 46th overall selection, we'll go ahead and select Ricky Brain. How about that for a name? The Brain from Arthur. Shout out to anyone who watched Arthur growing up. From Liga, he is 4 years away, similar to Matthias Ekholm. Medium elite, 18 years of age, 6'4". I would think he's a two-way D. Let's see what we get right here. Ricky Brain, the Dane. Ricky Brain, the Dane. Medium elite, 61 overall. What a draft. Ricky Brain, the Dane. Top 6s, top 4s. Yeah, some decent prospects going here, but no one I would have wanted to trade up too much for as opposed to Ricky Brain. What a name. What a name for Ricky Brain, the Dane. Okay, next pick is at number 80. Do we want to pick anyone between 47 and 80? Low top 4D, low top 6 forward. A bunch of low top 6 forwards going here. But I think I'd be okay. Who's this guy? Romanian? That's Abel Fischer. Look at that. Romanian. Abel Fischer. That's a flag you see in FIFA. Not too much in NHL. Let's sim to pick 80. Let's see if anything happens at 80, or if maybe we'll trade down a little bit. Top 9s go... Yeah, nothing interesting. Low top 6s, which we knew were there. Some low top 6s, low top 4Ds. At 80, we could take a low top 6 forward, John Lowry. 3 years away at the age of 18. That's not bad at all. Could also go for another Lowry, without an E, Jalen Lowry, who's also 3 years away and 18 years of age, but a 6'4" defenseman. We already took Ricky Brain. But there is Brookbank, another low top 6 forward. Taylor Brookbank, 4 years away at the age of 18. 14 goals, 21 assists in a C- league versus 11 goals, 25 assists. 6'5" as well, eh? Yeah, from the Calgary Hitmen, let's do it. John Lowry. Hold on. I gotta do my due diligence. I'm getting ahead of myself. And then there... You gotta do your due diligence! There's a medium elite right there waiting for us 1 pick later. You gotta do your due diligence. Brian Wow, whatever you want to call him. But I could just use the rest of our picks to trade for him if I'm not making any more. Because I wouldn't mind that guy, that low top 6 guy. He seemed cool. Yeah, let's do that. Good thing we did the due diligence. Always scroll a little bit further. You never know who's hiding around that corner. So, John Lowry, welcome to the team. Low top 6. You are 63 overall. Thank you very much. Power forward, 6'5" centerman. We'll take it. And then we want to trade, let's see where he's going again. For pick like 85. Let's go 5 more picks or so. 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. Range. Let's go for the Blue Jackets. I think we can go for 1 more. I think he's going like 89, so 86 shouldn't be an issue. Can I trade you 99 and 178? And I leave my 5th for anyone else that I want to maybe take a little flyer on here. 99 and 178. I almost feel guilty saying yes to this. Okay. Thank you. And at pick 86, we'll go ahead and take our guy, the medium elite. What's the position again? Left wing. Left wing sniper. 18 years of age, 5 years. Yeah, he's going to have a horrible overall, but I'll take the medium elite potential. Brian from Kitchener. 50 overall, medium elite. Welcome aboard, buddy boy. Yeah, 1 star, half star, everything. Thank you, Bello. And last pick will be at number 146. Some low top 6, some medium starters between now and then. There is a 3-bar medium elite goalie. No, I'm okay. Let's just sim to our pick here at 146. See who's available. I wonder where that goalie was. That goalie, did he go the goalie? Medium starter, was that him? I'm not sure. No, maybe it was this guy, medium elite, 47 overall. But Not interested in stockpiling all the goalies of the NHL here. Could go for Ukrainian, Pavel Tikhonov, 2-bar low elite. But let's just sort by potentials. Anybody out there? 2-bar medium elite. Actually, did I have anyone pinned? I did some research before the draft. Do I have anyone pinned left here? I have 2 pinned players left. I'll go for the guaranteed low elite, Kari Mikkola, 6'5" power forward. And I wouldn't mind taking Oscar Peterson there, right? Kari Mikkola. Let's go into a bit of a 30-pick reach here. Low elite, 51 overall. What kind of attributes do we see? 6'5". Yeah, nothing special. No problem. And I'm going to trade for the last pick of the draft and go get that guy that I had pinned. Vancouver, let's just swap 7ths here. Your 7th right now for my 7th next season. The fans will be dancing in the streets for that one. 7th from San Jose, next year for a 7th from Vancouver. Thank you. Believe the transaction will blah, blah, blah. Same all the way to pick number 224. And with the final pick in the 2026 NHL draft, we'll go ahead and take the guy we had pinned. There was a lot of good talent in this draft. We could have done some more, but I think we should be very happy with who we have. From Huve Siete Otev, is that how you say it? In the SHL, low top 6, 49 overall, beautiful. So what a draft, ladies and gentlemen. I am extremely pleased with this draft, especially picks 4 to 46. Very nice. Very, very nice. That will help us immensely into the future. But the future is the future. We need to think about the present. That's why it's a gift. Who said that? Master... what's his name from Kung Fu Panda? Never forget those wise words. So at this point, before we advance a day, we're gonna the money that these players are asking for is going to change. The player that I'm most worried about is Cole Lind. I'm gonna offer him his contract now because I feel as though it could go up a little bit if we wait. So 85% of 3.9 is 3.31. Would you want to do 3 years at 3.35, buddy? Let's see what you say to this. Aside from that, I'm just going to advance a day and move into the actual re-sign phase, which is one more day ahead, and then we'll see what he thinks. So advancing a day now to the re-sign phase. Yes, thank you for all the information. Easy decision! Okay, thank you, Cole. Wow, that's a huge weight off my shoulders. I would have thought that he would have said no, then we got to play games, and we got to end up paying him what he wants, or even more than what he wants to keep him. That's a huge weight off my shoulders. Thank you. So all expiring now. That leaves us with how much to play with? Sorry, I could have seen it right here. 7.328. Chaz Lucius. To stay as an RFA, we could do a 2-year deal, or we go long-term and he wants in the 8-9 millions. I think 2 years RFA is probably what makes the most sense. What was he just making on this last contract? He was his entry-level deal. Is that it? Yeah, you know what? I think out of an entry-level deal, a 2-year bridge makes sense. So let's do a 2-year type of thing. He's going to be a first liner for us. I think 2 years for $6 million. 85% is 5.95. 2 years, $6 million for a guy coming off of an ELC. I think that's a fair deal. $12 million for 2 years. Prove yourself, and then you'll get your big boy contract. 2x6 for Chaz Lucius. We'll see if he likes that. Looking at just all the UFAs. I'll take care of most of these guys. Some will let go. Some I'll re-sign for the AHL. Kiwi Haru is going to get re-signed. RFAs, a bunch of these guys are just replaceable level that we could just get in free agency. And for the goalies, everyone's signed on. We'll just give a contract to Hornqvist, our high elite prospect, who was a 2nd-round pick. Yeah, all right, so I'll take care of most of that and get back here in a second. All right, advancing a day now. Let's see what all of these little bellows have to say. Lucius, not interested in the duration being adjusted. Gotcha. Easy decision for Bjornfot, who will likely be our 7th D next season. Very nice. Michelli, Hamlick, all a bunch of AHL guys, just filling up the Barracuda. Very good. All the prospects, unsigned prospects, good. UFAs, I gotta let Mario Ferraro go, unfortunately. We have the money. Technically, like, we could do a thing where we qualify Lucius and then we try and get him for cheaper. But I want to give Lucius a fair contract. I'm not trying to play games. I know he wants 3 years, but, buddy, I can't let you go to unrestricted free agency. So I'll give you more, but there's no chance I'm giving you 3 years. So let's try 2 years at 6.25, giving him $12.5 million. That'll leave us with a little bit over $1 million of wiggle room. But I don't think we'd be able to keep Mario Ferraro as 7th D. We have Bjornfot as a guy making $800K as 7th D. Again, nothing but love for this man. He has been consistent. He has been great. But I want him to flourish elsewhere. And it's as simple as that. So, Mario Ferraro, wishing you all the best. Thank you for your years of service here with San Jose. But we will have to release you at this time. I hope that our paths cross another day. UFAs, that's all taken care of. RFAs, that's all taken care of. It's just down to Chaz Lucius now. Kalinin, I'm not going to sign him yet. I'm going to leave it to the AGMs, assistant general managers, to decide that in the comments. Do we sign him as a 17? If he was 18, I would have signed him. Do we leave him as 17 to play another year in Europe, and then 18 he makes the jump to the AHL or NHL? I'll leave that to all of you to think about. It's I could see both arguments. Lucius still not interested, but buddy, you don't have a choice. Your AI brain is going to sign whether you like it or not. 2 years, 6.5. Here's 13 million smackaroonies. Let's see what you say about this, Chaz. Still not interested. Okay, so you want to play games? No problem. Let me just qualify you in case you want to really be stubborn. This is my final offer, too. After that, I'll just offer you the same thing, but on July 1st. Then you'll accept it. Last offer, 6.65 for 2 years to Chaz Lucius. You say no, I say see you July 1st. Oh, it's such an easy decision. Part of me wants to say, well, you're being stubborn, I'm going to let you wait till July 1st. But the other part of me is, okay, in realistic negotiations, there would be some back and forth, and we'd have to concede a little bit. So 2 years at 6.65, coming off of a really great 60-plus point season. He'll be a top 6 guy for us. I'm okay with that. It doesn't kill me to give him an extra $650K. Leaves us with 1.828 at the moment. That's with our forwards being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Third line would be down to Logan Couture. But if he's fourth line center, maybe Noah Gregor can be fourth line. Cunnin comes up to the third line, and we need 2 fourth-line wingers. We take out Reedy. I wouldn't mind trading Reedy. Again, that frees up money. You think Mario Ferraro, but again, I need to use that money on the fourth liners. So I think we trade Scott Reedy. I keep saying Sam Reedy. And we're going to trade Scott Reedy, I think, to free up the money, and he just wasn't very good. I know he's a hometown guy. Well, not hometown, but homegrown 2017 4th-round pick. But he hasn't been good. I haven't been impressed. I think we're going to go ahead and trade him on July 1st, but that's all we need to do for the re-sign phase. Now let's get to July 1st. That's going to take a little bit of time as well, which will also include challenges of its own, because then you got to do the staff re-signing and blah, blah, blah. Do we have any staff to re-sign? No, we had none, eh? That's true. We had no scouts and no coaches to re-sign. I've never had that happen to me before. So here we are on July 1st. I'm going to go ahead and go through all the available scouts and hire some new ones for our staff. Coaching, I'm just curious to look if there are any A-plus coach. No, there's one A-. So I think Avery's definitely the guy. Our coaching staff is pretty much set. Just the AHL staff can be filled up a little bit more. For the scouts, do I see any A-rated scouts around here? Yeah, there's some guys, some B's, some A's. So I'll revamp the scouting as necessary for any regions that may be lacking behind, and then we'll dive into free agency. All right, that's taken care of. Ended up there was only one scout to hire, so welcome to the team. Free agency. Let's see who's out here. Jake Chikrin is indeed a free agent. Jason Robertson, is he a UFA? No, RFA. Okay, Robertson and Owen Power, of course. Let's just look at where can I sort by UFAs? Excuse me. Artemi Panarin wants 1 year, 11.1 as a 34-year-old. Extremely tempting on the one hand because he would be the guy, like the let's go all in kind of guy. But I don't know if it makes sense for us. We'd have to clear up so much space. We'd have to trade away Couture. We'd have to trade away probably Linus Ullmark. We'd have to trade away a little bit more to make it work. Scott Reedy. We'd have to trade Reedy, Couture, Ullmark. And then who's our fourth line center? Who's our other fourth liners? Who's our backup goalie? Does he even want to come to our team? It's tough. It would be a gamble, and I'm not sure we could do all that in good conscience. Jake Chikrin's 7-year deal that he wants, 12.375. 3 other teams interested. It would cost us $13 million to get Jake Chikrin. I don't think that's worth it either. Eli Tolvanen, franchise mode and channel legend. I'd love to get him on board. I don't know if he does that much in this NHL 23. 55, 70 points. He's not the 90, 100-point guy that we've seen in franchise mode. So again, I'm not sold on these bigger names. If there were to be someone, let's say after we sign some fourth liners and we have extra money and we need, let's say, a third liner, let's say Luke Cunnin's not going to be our third liner, Tyler Toffoli is here in free agency, wants 2 years at 4.475 as a 34-year-old. Last season, 18 goals, 39 assists, 57 points, 62 the year before that. Seems to be consistently in that 60 to 50 range, even as he will continue to regress. He does have top 6 potential. Victor Hedman out there is a defenseman as well, but he wants 7.6. Any crazy deals, like affordable guys, if we just sort by overall? 82 overalls. Yeah, we get some fourth liners. for cheap, definitely. Just scrolling around here. A lot of 1 mil kind of guys, like a Matt Nieto. Bah. We could think about Shane Pinto. Never grew here in this reality, I suppose. Yeah, okay, we can think about that. I don't think there's a big rush on any of these guys right now. My number one priority is trading Scott Reedy. It just hasn't been a good marriage between the Sharks and Reedy. Terrible plus-minus as our fourth-line center last year. Our fourth line was a major reason why we didn't succeed. Maybe the coaching will change things as well. I'm sure it will, actually. But there has to be some repercussions to this lineup. We can't just run it back with the same squad. And the bottom six is going to need a makeover, which will include moving on from Scott Reedy. If we want to add some trade value, we could throw Kostitsyn in there. 67 overall, 21 years of age. He was a former second-round pick who never really worked out for us. Yeah. He had 10 points in 72 games last year, despite, I know he has only like 9.5 minutes of ice time, but Boris Kostitsyn not doing it for me. So if we could trade Reedy and Kostitsyn to a team for, maybe I'll go to player search actually, for a team that has like a solid fourth line winger, that would be nice. So I'll do my research and see who I get back. So here's a trade I'm thinking about with the Anaheim Ducks. Benoit Olivier Groulx is an 81 overall, 26-year-old fourth line forward with top 6 potential. Even though if he doesn't grow, I'm not hoping on growth. Look at these attributes though. 83 defensive awareness, 91 shot blocking, 91 stick checking, decent deking, passing, 5-star physical, and limited ice time, well, over 11 minutes of ice time per night, 10 goals last season. I'm not looking at the points. The Ducks were not a very good team, and his plus-minus was not horrible. Year before that, 31 points and a plus 17 while getting similar ice time, a bit more. So I think in the right time, like fourth line, maybe slotting into third at certain moments, plus penalty kill, I could see Groulx being a good fit for us here. So Groulx with a 4th and a 7th, we give them Scott Reedy, bottom 6 player, plus a former second-round pick who's yet to really shown much aside from 1 year in the AHL. Anaheim, if they want to do it, I think that this is a fair deal for both sides, a decent hockey deal. Groulx has 1 year left on his deal, hasn't done much for them. They're a selling team, young-ish player. They get a younger player in Kostitsyn. What do you think about this one, Anaheim? Rejected? How about just for the 7th? I wouldn't mind doing it straight up even. Aren't where you need to be. Straight up, okay, fair enough. Let's do it. Let's call it a hockey deal. Thank you very much. Benoit Olivier Groulx, bienvenue à l'équipe, mon ami. We now have a new fourth liner. There are some other good options. Nick Cousins, Rudolph Balcers, who would have been interesting. But I felt as though Groulx was the best fit. Especially what pushed it over was the attributes. That the 90s in stick checking and shot blocking was very impressive. So that being said, let's take a look at the overview of the team now. We could also start to consider potential extensions moving into next season. Guys like Glass, Bouchard, they're going to be needing extensions. 85 overall Cody Glass only wants 3.575, and we have almost 30 million to play with. He could, if he's an 85, he could grow some more. I wouldn't mind extending him right now. What's he making? He's making 2.225. We saved him from the depths. We gave him a new life in the NHL. 85% of what he's asking for is 3.03. Would you want to do 3.15 for 2 years, Cody Glass? Let's see what he thinks about this. I wouldn't mind getting a couple players extended. Evan Bouchard, defenders start to ask for a lot. Only wants 2 years of 4.875. Now, do we extend him now, or do we wait to have him as an RFA? We could give him 4 or 5 years as a 5.77 million. Like, let's say 5.5 for 6 years. We could do that right now. But I think I'd rather try and figure out his place a bit more and then have his RFA rights and play the game like that. If he was a UFA, I'd extend him now. But as an RFA, I'm going to wait on him. Logan Couture, Eric Carlson, these are guys we can also wait and see on. I don't think it's a big rush to get Kniazev other younger-ish players signed. Pickering. What would he want today? 2.15 to stay as an RFA. Yeah, I think we can wait on that a little bit more. And for the goaltenders, both Ullmark and Dostal would need new contracts. Ullmark would want 5.1, so he's not staying next season. And Dostal would want 5.3. But if he's our starter, I could do that. If Ullmark's our well, it depends who's our starter. That's what it really comes down to. Lindbergh, he would want, okay, I don't know if he's really growing. And Makiniemi, he's not really growing either. We'll continue with the same tandem probably. Actually, we'll have the high elite goalie. That's true, eh? So we'll probably trade Makiniemi this offseason so that our newly signed high elite goalie can play backup. What's his name? Hornqvist. Yeah, he'll play backup to probably Lindbergh this year in the AHL. So now looking at the forwards, sorting by overall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 right there. That's a great solid 12 for us. 13th forward, let's say, is Gushin / Weisblatt / Bystedt / Tanguay. They got a push in the preseason, and we could still potentially move on from Cunnin or Couture. We don't need to move on from Logan Couture right now because of the salary cap. So I'm going to wait and see more about the assistant general managers. Do you like that 12, or do you want to wait and see what he does in the preseason, or what? That's what I'm thinking about right now. Because if we did trade Logan Couture right now and we had $9.6 million to play with, I don't think I'd go after a 7-year splash. Nor would I necessarily do a 1-year Artemi Panarin, where then our top 6 is Bedard, Buchnevich, Drouin, Hurdle, Eklund, and Panarin, and then Lucius, who we just gave big money to, is pushed to a third-line role, or someone else is pushed to a third-line role. I think I like this team right now. Drouin's being a huge surprise as an 88 overall, making $4.4 million. Defense, if we're going Lindell and whatever, Bouchard this season, Rodin and Carlson, Kniazev, Pickering with Bjornfot, I'm also okay with that defense. A lot of it's very much expiring. Only Rodin and Lindell extended past this season. There are still some questions. I will definitely give you that. There are definitely still some questions. But I think I'm content with this lineup. I don't want to make any more major changes to it until the start of the preseason. Goaltending-wise, by the way, sorting by the UFAs, if we were looking at getting a new starter, 85 overalls, 84 overalls. I think I'm happy with 85, 84, taking up about $5 million in Dostal and Allmark. So I don't think I'd explore that too much. Any interesting potential players here? Young players with potential for the AHL? I could do a little further research here myself, but aside from that, we sent out our contract to the scouts. We sent out our extension offer to Cody Glass. We made our trade for a fourth liner, got Reedy out of here, got a little value from Kostitsin, had a great draft. I think we can start simming towards next year. Once all those things are made, those decisions are figured out, I can go ahead and set the draft class as well for next season. Cunnin, we could get some picks for him. Interesting. Hurdle and a third for Girard and a third. Very interesting again. Cunnin and a fourth for a second. Cody Glass, easy decision. All right, thank you, Cody. Let's go. Sweet life on deck. Yes, sir. Couture and a fourth for a third and a fourth. We probably get like a third for Logan Couture. So let me pause here. I think that the Scouts and Cody Glass were like the only decisions we had to make. And I said I was going to look into the younger players, but I don't know why I said that, because when I was looking, I didn't see anyone of interest. So no need to do that. Rules, let's go and set the draft class for next season. So randomizing a number between 1 and 100, doing 1 to 30 as low, 30 to 70 medium, 70 to 100 as high. Last year, the draft class quality and generated prospect quality were both medium. It was a medium draft. Generating a number now for the draft class quality, I get 21. So a low draft class quality next season. And generating another number for generated prospect quality, 36. So just barely medium. So it will be a low medium draft next year. So that's all done and good to go. The team is set. Let's see what kind of growth or regression happens in the off-season, which will lead into our decision-making process headed into the 2026-27 preseason. All right, so here we are at the beginning of the preseason. Let's take a look at who progressed, who regressed, and how the lines may be looking heading into year number 5. All right, so not really like any growth over the offseason. Eklund's still stuck at an 86, Bedard's still an 89. These should bounce back very quickly with some good performances at the start of this season, but odd to see them stick at where they were at the end of the postseason. Buchnevich 88 rounding out that first line with a +3 with Avery back as the head coach. Second line, Lucius, Hurdle, and Drouin with a +2, 87, 87, 88 respectively. Third line now, Luke Cunnin. I think we're going to try him third line to start the season. Of course, we'll see what happens in the preseason. But Luke Cunnin, when given the ice time, does quite well. In our first year with the team, playing 15.5 minutes per night while getting power play time, he scored 38 points. The next year, with limited power play and second line-ish, I think he was mostly 30 at 27. Year after that, 8.5 minutes per night, only 15. Last season, 10.5, he gets 28. So I think giving him the ice time would be the right thing to at least start him off with. With Cody Glass at an 85 and Cole Lind at an 86. That's a strong third line in my opinion. Fourth line, Gregor at an 82, Logan Couture down to an 80, and Benoit Olivier Giroux at an 81. Now, defense, I like the defensive chemistry a lot. Lindell, Bouchard get a +2, Rodin, Carlson get a +5, and Pickering, Kniazev get a +1. I'd prefer to not have offensive defensemen play together, but Rodin and Carlson will be playing as 88 and 86. That +5 is going to mean a lot, hopefully, and especially Rodin learning from Carlson. 26-year-old with a 36-year-old, there's going to be a lot of good opportunities there. Goaltending, they swapped overalls. Dostal's now the 85 and Ullmark's now the 84, but no other changes there. Scratches, our 13th forward, maybe Larry Tongue this season. He's still 78. And Tobias Bjornfot, who's at a 79, can be our 7th D. Down in the AHL, I'll have to sign some extra players to fill out some spots, but again, no growth. Tomala, Bystedt, Weisblatt, Gushin, all stuck at 78. Abramov as well, all stuck. Michelli, Hamaliuk, both stuck at 77. Defense, we see Jennings up to a 79. Kivi Harju grew to a 77. We'll play him top pair with Hataka, I suppose. Aside from that, no other growth. Forsberg's at a 72. He'll back up Lindbergh, so we'll trade Makanyemi. But yeah, not really any growth in the AHL, and that team is not a good team, so we're definitely signing some players from free agency to help it out. Could some of those 78 overalls push for the NHL? It's possible. I'm concerned with those overalls not growing over the offseason. Eklund especially at an 86, when we've seen him as high as 88. Was he even 89 at one point? But definitely he was an 88, so I'm a bit concerned with that. Free agency, I'll send out some random contracts to some two-way guys, some guys who are in that 79 overall range, maybe guys who they themselves will push for the NHL, but guys who at the very worst will be good top 6 players in the AHL. I'll do that myself off-screen. I'll send out the scouts off-screen, but that's it for all of that. Contract extensions we have in mind. Lines, we've seen the overalls. So you can give me your suggestions on that. The final thing to show you before we call it an episode will be the trade blocks around the NHL. We do have a little bit of cap space, and again, Logan Couture, we could still say goodbye to him. We haven't committed to him yet, but he wouldn't be the worst fourth-line centerman in the world. Over in Anaheim, we see Arvidsson, Fabro, Bailey, and Ben all on the block. Coyotes, nobody. Bruins, nobody. Buffalo, nobody. Calgary, nobody. Okay. Carolina, we see some prospects. Chicago, prospects. Colorado, prospects once more. Blue Jackets, prospects. Dallas, Larson, Walker, Obi Kubel, and Blake Wheeler, former Shark. Kopp, Klingberg, JVR, Martinez, and Mata in Detroit. Edmonton, Raphael Lavoie, an RFA, and other prospects, including Nakamura, who's been on their block for a while. Florida, we see Connor Brown getting a huge contract, 87 overall, making 9.385. Sheesh. Domi, Strome, and Luosterainen. LA Kings, Lindholm, Matsu Joseph, Kopitar, Ellis, Orlov, last 3 on expiring deals. Minnesota, Eriksson Ek, followed by a lot of prospects. Les Canadiens Montréal, Owen Beck, 79 overall, 22 years of age. I like Owen Beck a lot, in the real world, that is. Nashville Predators, prospects. Devils, prospects. Islanders, Ryan Pulock and Adam Pelech. They're 2 of their top defensemen, if not their 2 top D, both with term, both 87 overall. That's tempting. Two-way D, Ryan Pulock, who was a big piece in our Seattle franchise, 4 years at 6.15, and Adam Pelech, 3 years at 5.75, one of the kings of blocking shots. Pelech last year, 26 points and a -8, I think 30 penalty minutes I saw. And Ryan Pelech last season, 24 points, -3, also 30 penalty minutes. All right, keep all that in mind. New York Rangers prospects, plus this guy was a 78 overall, medium top 4D, Hunter, 23rd overall selection, and a few years ago in the draft. Prospects in Ottawa, Philly, woo, everybody in Philly. Couturier, Konechny, Hartman, Sanheim, Dumba, everybody. Some on expiring deals, but a lot of them who have term. Okay, all right, they're selling in Philly. Same in Pittsburgh. Raquel, Kane, Toffoli, Sherry, Granlund, Rust. Woo, boy. A lot of names in Pittsburgh. Seattle, same thing. A lot of teams at the start had no one. Now these teams at the end have everyone. McCann, Comfer, Mangiapane, Bjorkstrand, Burakovsky, Wenberg, Greenway, Engvall, Hornqvist. Sheesh, a lot of names in Seattle. St. Louis, same thing. Falk, D'Angelo, Parayko, Shillington, Montour, Sveshnikov. Justin Falk on an expiring deal is interesting. 86 overall, offensive defenseman, right side. Kind of be a placeholder for Kalinin, who's going to be coming sooner rather than later. 50 points last season. He was a +4. Interesting. Justin Falk. All right. Let's see, these guys could even be deadline moves. It doesn't have to be right now. Tampa, nobody. Toronto, not really anybody. Vancouver, prospects. Vegas, Nolan Foote, who's an RFA, and other prospects. Washington, Gardner, Gustafson, and Soucy. Winnipeg, prospects, including the guy they just drafted 3rd overall. Yeah. All right, and Vidacek, interesting. So there are the trade blocks around the NHL. I don't think we'll touch anything else. Heading into the regular season, we'll have Avery as our head coach, A-rated, with Piper A+ as the associate. NHL staff is full. AHL, they gave an associate. The computer signed one automatically. That's great. It's impossible to sign one ourselves, since they always say that they don't like the role or whatever. So great, let the computer do it. Contracts, if you want to consider signing Kalinin, he is still a 79 overall, now 18 years of age, so his birthday is over the offseason. He's 18, 79. Do we keep him in Europe, playing in presumably the KHL, or do we bring him to the AHL, play first pair with Kivi Harju? That's an option. Same thing with Riley. We could play him first line in the AHL. Grinder, so maybe not great for the chemistry, but I'd still play him in at least the top 6. I don't think I'd sign anybody else. So we'll consider that. We'll trade Makanyemi next episode. Potential other moves. All up to you. So be sure to leave your thoughts down here on YouTube or over on the Discord server. Link in the description. Your time to watch and comment and all that is very much appreciated. Please do leave a like if you did enjoy the off season, especially the draft, where I think we were really smart with our draft choices. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already to be made aware of all of our franchise mode, career simulation uploads, and much, much more. Breaking news and analysis in the real world of hockey. I'm already getting excited for trade deadline coverage live here on the channel. Also, the new hockey card content and much more. So if you enjoy this, I'm sure you enjoy much else of what goes on the channel. And we'd love to have you join the team, especially on the Discord. So I'll stop there. Looking forward to the beginning of year number 5, 2026-27 with high hopes, high ambitions. We just have to figure out how are we going to get there. Are there any more changes needed? What more is required for us to get to that point? That's for all of you to decide. So thank you very much for watching, taking the time to comment, add your suggestions, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in the next one.